The day my sister demanded my house, I was elbow deep in paint, touching up the living room walls for her engagement dinner. The irony still makes me laugh in that hollow way that hurts your chest. My name is Nicole, and I've spent the last 5 years of my life keeping this house from becoming another statistic in the foreclosure crisis. While my younger sister Roslyn was posting Instagram stories from Cabo, I was working two jobs and living off ramen to make mortgage payments. My father's gambling habit had left in ruins. Nicole! The front door slammed, and Roslyn's voice pierced through my concentration. Why aren't you dressed yet? Everyone will be here in an hour. I climbed down from the stepladder, wiping sweat from my forehead. Just finishing up some touch ups. The wall needed. Nobody cares about the wall. Rosalind waved her perfectly manicured hand dismissively. Her engagement ring caught the light, probably worth more than my entire wardrobe. Easton's parents are coming. This place needs to look perfect. I bit back a response about how this place always looked perfect because I maintained it. Instead, I forced a smile. Give me 20 minutes to shower and change. The doorbell rang just as I was zipping up my dress. Trinity, my best friend and roommate, poked her head into my room. Your parents are here? Want me to run interference? My hero. I applied a quick swipe of lipstick. How bad is it? Your dad's already complaining about the thermostat, and your mom's rearranging the appetizers I set out. Wonderful. I took a deep breath and headed downstairs. There's our Nicole, Mom said, air kissing my cheek. Darling, the house looks. She paused, searching for a criticism. Well, you tried your best. Dad didn't even look up from his phone. Heat's too high in here. You're wasting money. Nice to see you too, I muttered. But they'd already moved on to fawning over Roslyn and Easton, who'd just arrived with his parents. The dinner itself was excruciating. I sat there, picking at my food, while everyone gushed about wedding plans and future grandchildren. Easton's father kept talking about investment opportunities, and I caught my dad's fingers twitching, a tell I knew too well from the gambling days. Then Rosalind cleared her throat. So, Nicole, we wanted to discuss something important with you. The room went quiet. Too quiet. I noticed my parents exchange glances. As you know, Rosalind continued, Easton and I want to start our lives together somewhere special. Somewhere with history. My stomach dropped. I knew where this was going, but surely they wouldn't. We think it would be wonderful, Mom jumped in, if you gave the house to your sister as a wedding present. The fork slipped from my fingers, clattering against the plate. Excuse me? It makes perfect sense, Dad added gruffly. You're single, focused on your career. Rosalind needs a proper family home. A proper family home, I repeated slowly. You mean the home I saved from foreclosure? The one I've been paying for since I was 22? Rosalind rolled her eyes. Don't be dramatic. We all helped. All helped? I stood up so fast my chair scraped against the floor. Where was your help when I was working 60-hour weeks, when I had to drop out of college to make the payments? Now, Nicole, Mom's voice took on that sickly sweet tone she used when trying to manipulate me. We're family. Family supports each other. Family, I laughed, and it sounded strange even to my own ears. Is that what we're calling this? Trinity touched my arm gently. Maybe we should all take a breath. No need, I said, suddenly calm. I'll think about it. The relief on their faces made me sick. They thought they'd won, just like always. Rosalind beamed, already pulling up Pinterest boards on her phone to show Easton's mother renovation ideas. Later that night, after everyone left, I sat alone in my kitchen, staring at the business card Luke, my realtor friend, had given me months ago. I'd kept it, just in case, just for a moment like this. My hands didn't shake as I dialed his number. Luke, it's Nicole. Remember that conversation we had about selling? I'm ready. When I hung up, Trinity was standing in the doorway. You okay? No, I said honestly, but I will be. I looked around at the walls I'd painted, the floors I'd refinished, the life I'd built while they took and took and took. Something inside me hardened, like concrete setting. They wanted my house? Fine. But they were about to learn what happens when you push the family doormat too far. Luke's office smelled like coffee and fresh printer paper. He spread the documents across his desk, pointing to each signature line with practiced efficiency. Once you sign these, the sale is final, he said. The investors are offering cash, which means we can close in 48 hours. Are you absolutely sure about this? I picked up the pen. How much again? 425. Enough to clear the mortgage and walk away with a decent cushion. My hand hovered over the paper. 5 years of my life, reduced to a number on a page. I thought about all the overtime shifts, the missed vacations, the credit card debt I'd racked up keeping this house afloat. Do it, I said, and started signing. Trinity was waiting outside in her car. Well, it's done. I buckled my seatbelt. They take possession on Thursday. Nicole. She grabbed my hand. Once you do this, there's no going back. Your family isn't family. I pulled my hand away. They're just people who got really comfortable using me. My phone buzzed. A text from Roslyn. Having engagement photos taken at the house tomorrow. Make sure the lawn is mowed. I showed Trinity the message. She whistled low. The audacity. Oh, it gets better. I scrolled through more texts. Mom's already planning the reception. Dad's talking about converting my home office into a nursery. They really think you're going to hand it over, don't they? They don't think. They expect. The next morning, I drove past the house on my way to work. A photographer was setting up equipment while Rosalind posed on my front porch in a flowing white dress. Mom directed the scene like a Hollywood producer, rearranging potted plants I'd spent years cultivating. I kept driving. At Sunday brunch, a tradition Mom insisted on maintaining, Rosalind held court at the local cafe, surrounded by wedding magazines. The caterers need a final head count, she announced. Nicole, you're not bringing anyone, right? We'll just put you at the singles table. Actually, I said, stirring my coffee, I might not make it. The table went silent. What do you mean, you might not make it? Mom's voice could have frozen hell. It's your sister's wedding. At my house, Rosalind added, where you're basically just the house sitter at this point. Dad lowered his newspaper. Nicole, enough with the attitude. Your sister needs. I have to go. I stood up, throwing cash on the table. Work stuff. On a Sunday? Mom scoffed. Since when do you? Since I have to pay for everything myself. The words came out sharper than intended. A couple at the next table glanced over. I spent the rest of the day at Trinity's apartment, sorting through boxes of old photos I'd grabbed from the house. Most were yellowed snapshots of family vacations I'd never been on, celebrations I'd missed while working. Then I found it, a handwritten note tucked inside an album dated 3 years ago. Dad's messy scrawl. Talked to Jerry about selling the house, could clear enough to cover debts. Nicole doesn't need to know yet. My hands started shaking. They'd tried to sell it behind my back, while I was killing myself to save it. You okay? Trinity called from the kitchen. I showed her the note. They were going to sell it anyway, after everything I did. Jesus. She read it twice. Nicole, these people aren't worth protecting anymore. I pulled out my phone and texted Luke. Everything still on for Thursday? His reply came instantly. All set. New owners doing final walkthrough at 9 a.m. I had one more family dinner to get through. One more night of pretending. Mom had ordered takeout, claiming she was too busy with wedding plans to cook. We sat around my dining room table, my table that I'd refinished myself, while Rosalind detailed her renovation plans. The wall between the kitchen and dining room has to go, she declared. It's so dated. Load-bearing, I muttered. What? Nothing. I stood up and placed my house keys on the table. Everyone fell silent, staring at them. Mom's eyes welled up. Oh, sweetheart, I knew you'd do the right thing. Finally showing some family loyalty. Dad nodded approvingly. Rosalind snatched up the keys, beaming. I knew you'd come around. Easton, baby, we should start packing tonight. I walked to the door, pausing only to send one final text to Luke. It's happening tomorrow. Behind me, I could hear them planning, celebrating, dividing up my life like vultures. They had no idea what was coming. Sometimes karma needs a little push. And tomorrow morning, at exactly 9 a.m., Karma was showing up with moving trucks and legal documents. I smiled all the way home. I arrived early for what would be our last family dinner in my house. The moving trucks would arrive tomorrow, but tonight was about watching them dig their own graves with every entitled word. Mom bustled around my kitchen like she already owned it, rearranging my spice rack for the 100th time. Nicole, these expired months ago. How do you live like this? I manage. I checked my phone. 7 texts from Luke confirming tomorrow's timeline. Rosalind burst through the door with 3 paint samples. I'm thinking sage green for the living room. The current color is so basic. I'd spent 12 hours painting those walls myself. Whatever you want, Roz. Dad wandered in, already 3 beers deep. He picked up one of the paint swatches. Looks expensive. Nicole, you're covering the renovations, right? Since you're not contributing to the wedding? Before I could respond, Easton arrived with a bottle of champagne. Time to celebrate. My parents just transferred the first part of our wedding gift. Roz, we can start on that kitchen remodel you wanted. Perfect. Rosalind clapped her hands. We can finally get rid of those awful countertops. The countertops I'd installed myself after working overtime for 3 months. Trinity, who'd insisted on being there for moral support, caught my eye from across the room. She gave me a subtle nod. Dinner's ready, Mom announced, carrying a casserole to the table. Nicole, we're using the good china, right? The set your grandmother left you? Already packed it up. I smiled. For safekeeping. Dad raised his beer. Well, might as well make it official. To Nicole for finally doing something right, and to Roslyn for giving this place the upgrade it desperately needs. Everyone clinked glasses. I took a sip of water and checked my watch. 12 hours until showtime. Oh, Rosalind jumped up. I almost forgot. The wedding planner needs to know where to set up the tent. I'm thinking right over your garden. The garden I'd planted the day after paying off Dad's gambling debts. Every flower bought with borrowed money and overtime shifts. Sounds perfect, I said. Mom beamed. See? This is what family's about. Supporting each other. Nicole, I know you've been difficult about this, but seeing you finally embrace your sister's happiness. Let's not drag it out, I interrupted. You got what you wanted. Don't be bitter, sis. Rosalind rolled her eyes. It's not attractive. Besides, you can come visit any time. Maybe we'll even let you house sit when we go on vacation. After dinner, while everyone was distracted with wedding plans, I slipped upstairs. My bedroom was already mostly packed, boxes labeled and ready for tomorrow. On my bed lay the last family photo where we all looked happy, before Dad's gambling, before Mom's manipulation, before Rosalind became the golden child. I heard movement behind me. Trinity stood in the doorway. You don't owe them anything. I know. I put the photo face down. But this still hurts. A crash from downstairs made us both jump. We rushed down to find Rosalind and Dad dragging my favorite reading chair toward the front door. What are you doing? I demanded. It doesn't match the new aesthetic, Rosalind said, struggling with the chair. We're putting it in the donation pile. The chair I'd rescued from a thrift store, reupholstered by hand, spent countless nights in while calculating how to save this house. Something inside me snapped. Stop! My voice was ice. Put it down. Oh, come on, Rosalind whined. Don't be dramatic. I said, put it down. Maybe it was my tone or something in my expression, but they actually listened. Nicole, Mom started, using her mediator voice, your sister is just trying to. To what? Take more? Destroy more? I walked to the chair, running my hand along its worn arm. You know what's funny? You all think tomorrow's going to be this big, fresh start, new beginnings, your perfect little fantasy. Dad frowned. What's that supposed to mean? I checked my phone one last time. Luke's message glowed on the screen. Everything's set for 9 a.m. Nothing, I said sweetly. Just thinking out loud. You should all get some rest. Tomorrow's going to be interesting. See? Mom touched my arm. I knew you'd come around. Blood is thicker than water, after all. I looked at her hand on my arm, then at Rosalind's smug face, at Dad's dismissive expression. 5 years of sacrifice, reduced to a footnote in their perfect family narrative. You're right, Mom. I gently removed her hand. Blood is thicker than water. And tomorrow you're all going to learn exactly how thick it is. They laughed, probably thinking I was making some clumsy attempt at a toast. But Trinity saw my expression and quickly made excuses for us to leave. In the car, she asked, Ready for tomorrow? I watched my family through the window, already rearranging my furniture, planning their future in my house. More than ready, I said. It's time they learned what happens when you bite the hand that feeds you. At exactly 8:57 a.m., I parked across the street from my house. Luke's car was already there, along with two moving trucks and a silver Mercedes I didn't recognize. Right on schedule, Trinity said from the passenger seat. You ready? I watched the new owners, a well dressed couple in their 40s, step out of the Mercedes. Luke greeted them with a handshake. 3, 2, 1. I counted down. Right on cue, Mom's SUV screeched around the corner. She barely put it in park before jumping out, face twisted in confusion. Dad's truck pulled up seconds later, followed by Rosalind's BMW. What's going on? Mom demanded, marching toward Luke. Who are these people? Luke smiled professionally. Good morning. I'm the realtor handling the sale. You must be the previous tenant's family? Sale? Rosalind shrieked. What sale? I stepped out of my car, Trinity right behind me. Dad spotted me first. Nicole. He stormed over. What the hell is this? This, I said calmly, is the new owners taking possession of their property. Mom's face went white. What are you talking about? You gave us the keys. I gave you my spare keys. The deed's been in my name for 5 years, and now it's in theirs. I gestured to the couple who were watching the scene unfold with growing discomfort. You can't do this! Rosalind lunged forward, but Easton caught her arm. We're supposed to live here. The wedding is your problem now. I handed Luke the final paperwork. The house is sold. I'm calling the police. Mom fumbled with her phone. Go ahead. I shrugged. The sale's legal. I have every right to sell my property. Your property? Dad's face turned purple. We're your family. Family? I laughed. Family doesn't try to sell the house behind my back while I'm working 2 jobs to save it. Yeah, Dad, I found the note about your talk with Jerry. He stumbled back like I'd slapped him. This is insane. Easton spoke up, looking between Rosalind and me. The house was yours the whole time? Every mortgage payment, every repair, every property tax bill. I met his eyes. While your fiancé was posting beach selfies, I was working overtime to keep a roof over her head. You ungrateful little... Mom started, but Trinity stepped forward. I'd choose your next words carefully, she warned. The movers need to start working. As if on cue, the moving crew approached. Where should we begin? The master bedroom, I said. Everything's labeled? Rosalind let out a strangled scream. You're just going to let them take everything? Not everything. I pulled out my phone, showing her the inventory. Only what's mine, which is most of it since I bought it all. But don't worry, I left your old posters in the garage. Mrs. Burton, Luke called to my mother, who was now crying dramatically. You need to move your vehicle. The trucks need access to the driveway. This isn't happening, she sobbed. Nicole, how could you do this to your sister? The same way you did it to me. I met her gaze, by putting myself first. Dad grabbed my arm. You listen here? Security, Luke called out, and 2 uniformed officers stepped out of their patrol car. I hadn't even noticed them arrive. Is there a problem? Dad released me instantly. The new owners would like to begin their move-in. Luke continued smoothly. Anyone not involved in the property transfer needs to leave. This isn't over, Rosalind spat, mascara running down her face. You think you've won? You just nuked this family, Nicole. I looked at her. Really looked at her, for the first time in years. My little sister who'd taken and taken until there was nothing left to take. No, I said quietly. I finally left the blast radius. The next hour was chaos. Mom wailed. Dad threw a chair. Rosalind tried to barricade herself in my office until Easton physically carried her out. Through it all, I stood with Trinity and Luke, watching movers carefully pack my life into trucks. You sure you're ready for all of this? Luke asked as the last box was loaded. I watched my family huddle by their cars, shooting me looks that ranged from hatred to disbelief. 5 years of sacrifice, manipulation, and silent resentment, all coming to a head on a sunny Thursday morning. You know what's funny? I said, climbing into my car. For the first time in years, I feel like I can breathe. Trinity squeezed my hand. Where to? I started the engine, taking one last look at the house I'd saved, the family I'd lost, and the life I was finally leaving behind. Anywhere but here. As we drove away, I caught a glimpse of Rosalind in my rearview mirror, screaming something I couldn't hear. But for once, her voice couldn't reach me. The fallout hit social media first. Mom's Facebook post painted me as a monster who'd betrayed family trust and destroyed her sister's dreams. Her country club friends filled the comments with thoughts and prayers. Have you seen this? Trinity tossed her phone onto our new apartment's coffee table. Your mom's telling people you forged the deed. I scrolled through the post. Funny how she left out the part where they tried to sell it first. My phone buzzed, another blocked number. I'd gotten 12 calls since morning, mostly dad's gambling buddies offering legal advice. Nicole? A knock at the door made us both jump. It's Easton. Can we talk? Trinity raised an eyebrow. I nodded, and she opened the door. Easton looked terrible. His usually pristine suit was wrinkled, dark circles under his eyes. I know I should have called first, but Rosalind's been monitoring my phone. Come in. I gestured to the couch. Coffee? Please. He sat heavily. I've been going through everything since Thursday. The house, the loans, all of it. Why didn't anyone tell me? Would you have believed me over Rosalind? He accepted the coffee Trinity handed him. Probably not. But now? He pulled out his phone, showing me a text thread. Your dad's been asking me to invest in some sure thing. Says he knows a guy. Let me guess. Someone named Jerry? How did you? Same guy he tried to sell the house to 3 years ago. I showed him the note I'd found. While I was still paying the mortgage. Easton's face fell. There's more, isn't there? Before I could answer, my phone lit up with a notification. Rosalind had tagged me in a public post. Some sisters become best friends, others become backstabbing snakes who destroy families. She's been like this all week, Easton said quietly. The wedding's on hold. She keeps saying she'll fix it, make you pay somehow. Speaking of paying, Trinity pulled up an online banking app. Your fiance tried to access Nicole's old accounts this morning. Good thing we moved everything. Easton put his head in his hands. I don't even recognize her anymore, or maybe I never really knew her. A commotion outside made us all look up. Through the window, I spotted Rosalind storming across the parking lot, designer handbag swinging like a weapon. How did she? Easton started. Probably followed you. I stood up. Trinity, get your phone ready. The door burst open before we could lock it. Rosalind stood there, mascara perfect despite her rage. You home-wrecking bitch! She threw her drink at me, some fancy iced coffee that stained my shirt brown. Happy now? You've ruined everything. Rosalind? Easton stepped forward. Stop this. Stop? She stole our future. That house was supposed to be ours. It was never yours, I said, wiping coffee from my face. You just assumed, like always, that you deserved it. We're family, she screamed. You owed us. Owed you what? The years I lost, the money I earned, the life I put on hold? Oh, poor Nicole, she sneered, always playing the victim. You think you're so perfect, so righteous, but you're just jealous because Mom and Dad always loved me more. The room went silent. Even Rosalind seemed shocked by her own words. You're right, I said quietly. They did love you more, and you all made sure I never forgot it. My phone buzzed again, a voicemail notification from a number I hadn't seen in years. Aunt Karen's voice filled the room. Nicole, it's your aunt. I heard what happened. There's something you need to know about why things really went down like they did. Call me. Rosalind's face went pale. Don't you dare talk to her. Why not? I stepped closer. Afraid she'll tell me about the other times you tried to take what wasn't yours? Rosalind, Easton's voice was different now. What is she talking about? Nothing. She's lying, like always. But her voice shook. We're leaving. Now. No. Easton stayed put. I want to hear this. Fine. She grabbed her bag. Stay here with this bitter, lonely failure. See if I care. She stormed out, slamming the door so hard a picture fell off the wall. Trinity, who'd recorded everything, whistled low. Well, that was intense. You okay? Easton asked me. I looked at my coffee-stained shirt, then at my phone where Aunt Karen's message still waited. No, but I will be. I pressed play on the voicemail. Nicole, what they did to you. It wasn't just about the house. There's a bigger story here, going back years. Your grandmother's will, the original deed. They've been playing this game a long time. Call me when you're ready for the truth. I met Trinity's eyes, then Easton's. Something shifted in the air like the moment before a storm breaks. Ready to go deeper? Trinity asked. I saved Karen's number. Time to find out what else they've been hiding. Aunt Karen's house looked exactly as I remembered, a small blue cottage with wind chimes on the porch. I hadn't been here since I was 12 before the family cut her out. You came. She opened the door before I could knock. Age had silvered her hair, but her eyes were sharp as ever. I wasn't sure you would. Trinity squeezed my hand before heading back to the car. I'll pick you up in 2 hours. Karen led me to her kitchen where a folder thick with documents waited on the table. Tea? Let's skip the small talk. I sat down. What's this about Grandma's will? She poured 2 cups anyway. Your mother never told you why I stopped coming to family gatherings, did she? Mom said you had a falling out over money. Money? Karen laughed bitterly. I caught them trying to forge Mom's signature on property transfer documents 3 months before she died. My hands started shaking. What? The house, your house, was supposed to go to you directly. Mom knew about Marvin's gambling, about Mary's enabling. She wanted to protect you. She pulled out a yellowed document. This is the original will. I kept a copy after they destroyed the official one. I read it twice. My name was there, clear as day, sole inheritor of the property. They killed the will, Karen continued, rewrote everything through their lawyer friend, Jerry, the same Jerry Dad had tried to sell to. The pieces started clicking. But they couldn't transfer the deed without my signature, I said slowly. That's why they needed me to save it from foreclosure. They needed it in my name first. So they could pressure you to sign it over later. Karen nodded. They've been playing this game for years, setting up Rosalind as the golden child, making you feel worthless, indebted, the perfect scapegoat. My voice sounded distant, always trying to earn their love. You weren't the black sheep, Nicole. You were the sacrifice. My phone buzzed, a text from Easton. Found something in Rosalind's email. Old messages about the house. You need to see this. There's more. Karen pulled out another document. 2 years ago, your mother tried to add Rosalind's name to the deed, while you were still paying the mortgage. How do you know all this? I work at the county records office. She smiled grimly. They didn't know that when they tried to file the paperwork. Another text from Easton. She knew about everything. The will, the forgery attempts. She helped them. All this time, I whispered. Every extra shift, every missed opportunity. It was never going to be enough, was it? They designed it that way. Karen reached across the table. You weren't failing them, Nicole. They were failing you. My phone kept buzzing. Trinity had sent a link to a local community forum where Mom was playing the victim card. Heartbroken mother seeks prayers. Eldest daughter betrays family trust. I have to do something, I said. They can't just get away with this. What are you thinking? I looked at the documents spread across the table. Evidence of years of manipulation, fraud attempts, calculated abuse. The truth, I said. All of it. It'll destroy them. They destroyed themselves. I started gathering the papers. I'm just going to make sure everyone knows it. Karen smiled, the same smile I'd seen in old photos of my grandmother. There's one more thing you should know. Your mother and Rosalind. They tried this before. What do you mean? She pulled up an old news article on her tablet. Remember cousin Sarah, her mental breakdown 10 years ago? I read the headline. Local woman commits suicide after family property dispute. They drove her to it, Karen said quietly. Same pattern, same manipulation. She just wasn't strong enough to fight back. My hands clenched into fists. Send me everything. What are you going to do? I thought about Rosalind's smug face, Mom's fake tears, Dad's dismissive anger, about years of gaslighting and guilt trips and calculated cruelty. I'm going to make sure Sarah gets justice too. I stood up, and I know exactly where to start. Karen handed me a final envelope. Your grandmother wrote you a letter. She knew what they were planning. Read it when you're ready. Outside, Trinity was waiting in the car. You okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. More like several. I showed her the documents. Call Easton. Tell him to meet us at the apartment, and see if Luke can recommend a good lawyer. Why? I thought about Sarah, about the will, about years of orchestrated abuse masked as family love. Because it's time for the real story to come out. I pulled out my phone and opened my email, and I know just who to send it to first. The subject line was simple: to the family that never was. Trinity started the car. You sure about this? I looked at Karen standing in her doorway, at the evidence in my lap, at the future stretching out before me, finally free of their shadows. Watch me. The country club ballroom buzzed with chatter. What should have been Rosalind's wedding rehearsal dinner had become a family support gathering, Mom's attempt to save face after everything fell apart. I hadn't planned to come, but when Easton texted that Rosalind was planning to announce a new beginning at the family estate, I knew I couldn't miss it. Ready? Trinity adjusted my blazer as we walked in. Everyone's staring, I muttered. Let them. She linked her arm through mine. They're about to stare a lot harder. Mom spotted us first. Her champagne glass froze halfway to her lips. Nicole, you weren't invited. Actually, I was. I held up Easton's invitation. +1. Dad appeared, face flushed from drinking. You've got some nerve showing up here. Oh, I wouldn't miss this. I smiled, especially not Rosalind's big announcement. As if summoned, Rosalind clinked her glass for attention. She'd lost weight, but her smile was triumphant. Everyone, thank you for coming to support our family during this transitional time, the crowd murmured sympathetically. While recent events have been challenging, she continued, glaring at me, I'm thrilled to announce that Daddy's found a way to buy back our family home. The new owners accepted our offer this morning. Applause broke out. Mom wiped away theatrical tears. That's interesting, I said loudly, considering the new owners signed a non-transfer clause yesterday. The room went silent. What? Rosalind's glass shook. They can't sell for at least 5 years. I pulled out my phone. Oh, and Dad? Jerry called. He said to tell you the casino's still waiting for their money. Dad's face went white. You talked to Jerry? We had a fascinating conversation about forged documents and illegal property transfers. I looked at Mom. Should we tell everyone about Cousin Sarah, too? Don't you dare, Mom hissed. What about Sarah? Someone called from the crowd. Nothing, Rosalind rushed forward. She's lying, like always. Am I? I connected my phone to the room's presentation screen because I have emails, bank records, the original will they destroyed, even the paperwork where they tried to transfer the deed behind my back. The screen filled with documents. Gasps rippled through the crowd as people started reading. Turn that off! Dad lunged for the controls, but Easton blocked him. They should see, he said quietly. Everyone should see. You helped them, I told Roslyn. You knew about Sarah, about everything. You watched them break me down for years, and you helped. I didn't, she started. Check your sent emails. I swiped to a new screen. Mom, Nicole's working late again. Perfect time to get those papers filed. More gasps. Someone started recording on their phone. You're ruining everything, Rosalind screamed. Again! No. I faced the crowd. They ruined a daughter, a sister, a cousin. They forged documents, committed fraud, drove Sarah to suicide. Lies! Mom shrieked. We're your family. Family? I laughed. Let me tell you about family. For the next 10 minutes, I laid it all out. The manipulation, the fraud attempts, Sarah's story. With each revelation, the crowd's horror grew. The police have been notified, I finished. The DA's particularly interested in the forged documents, and Sarah's case is being reopened. Dad slumped into a chair. Mom's mascara ran in black rivers. You all gambled with me like some security deposit, I said, my voice carrying across the silent room, and I just cashed out. Rosalind lunged at me, but Trinity stepped between us. Touch her, and assault charges join the fraud ones. This isn't over, Rosalind spat. Actually, it is. Easton stepped forward. I've given statements to the police about everything. The crowd started moving toward the exits, whispers following them like smoke. Mom's country club friends couldn't get out fast enough. You've destroyed this family, Mom sobbed. No. I disconnected my phone. You did that years ago. I'm just making sure everyone knows why. As Trinity and I walked out, I heard Rosalind's last desperate scream, "I'll make you pay for this!" But her voice held no power anymore. The truth had stripped it away. Outside, Karen was waiting in her car. How'd it go? I showed her the video someone had already posted online. They'll never recover from this. Good. She squeezed my hand. Sarah would be proud. My phone buzzed with messages, support from strangers who'd seen the video, old friends connecting dots from years ago, reporters asking for comments. What now? Trinity asked. I watched through the window as my family's carefully constructed facade crumbled in real time. Years of lies exposed in one night. Now? I smiled. Now we let karma finish what truth started. The local news played quietly in my new office as I reviewed renovation plans with Trinity. Our home restoration business was taking off, thanks partly to the viral story of how I'd saved and sold my own house. Another email from a reporter, Trinity said, checking her phone. They want to know if you'll comment on the plea deal. Delete it. I focused on the blueprints. That chapter's closed. The news anchor's voice caught my attention. Local businessman Marvin faces up to 5 years for fraud and forgery charges. His wife Mary and daughter Roslyn await sentencing next week. Trinity muted it. You're not watching the sentencing? Karen's going. For Sarah. I traced a line on the blueprint. That's enough. My phone buzzed. Easton. He'd started his own financial consulting firm after the scandal broke. Hey, got a minute? There's someone you should meet. Client? Better. Sarah's daughter. She's 18 now, just found out what really happened. Wants to thank you. My hand froze over the blueprints. I didn't know she had. Neither did most people. Her adoptive parents kept her away from the whole mess, but she saw the video, did some digging. A notification popped up, another attempt by Rosalind to access my accounts. Even facing jail time, she wouldn't quit. Send her by the office, I said. I'll make time. After hanging up, I walked to the window. Below, construction crews worked on our latest project, converting an old factory into affordable housing, the kind of place I wished I'd had when I was struggling to save that house. Luke knocked on my door. Got those property listings you wanted? Thanks. I took the folder. How's the market? Interesting timing. He grinned. Your old house just got listed again. New owners are moving overseas. Let me guess. Rosalind's trying to buy it through a shell company. Third attempt this month. He sat down. She never learns, does she? None of them did. I opened my laptop to show him an email. Mom's still sending daily guilt trips from her sister's spare room. Dad's looking for investors for his comeback plan from prison. Trinity snorted. At least they're consistent. A young woman appeared in my doorway, barely 18, with Sarah's eyes. Ms. Nicole, I'm Hannah. Sarah was my birth mother. The room went quiet. I stood up. Come in, please. She clutched a folder. I found these in my adoption papers. Letters from my mom. About what they did to her. About you. I tried to make it right. I said softly. For her. You did. Hannah smiled through tears. The trust fund they stole from her? The one they used for the house? It's been recovered. My college is covered now, just like she wanted. Trinity and Luke slipped out, leaving us alone. I have something for you too. I pulled out an envelope, the one Karen had given me. Your grandmother wrote this letter, the real one, not the version they forced her to write. Hannah's hands shook as she took it. Will you read it with me? We sat together, unfolding the last true words of a woman who'd seen through the lies, who'd tried to protect us both. My dearest Nicole, it began, if you're reading this, they've already tried to take everything. But remember, houses can be rebuilt, families can be chosen, and the truth, no matter how long buried, finds its way to light. My phone buzzed again. A text from Karen. Rosalind's sentencing just finished. 5 years. Mary got 3. They're still blaming you. I showed Hannah the message. She gripped my hand. Does it still hurt? Less every day. I looked around my office at the life I'd built from the ashes of their betrayal. They thought breaking me would make me easier to control. Instead, it made me impossible to break again. Mom would be proud, Hannah whispered, of both of us. Outside my window, the construction crew raised a new wall against the sky. Below it, our company sign caught the sun. Phoenix Renovations, building new beginnings. Want to get coffee? I asked Hannah. I have some stories about your mom. The real ones, not their versions. She nodded, wiping her eyes. I'd like that. As we walked out, Trinity called after me. What should I do with these? She held up a stack of letters, more guilt trips from the family that wasn't anymore. I thought about Sarah, about Hannah, about truth and consequences and the family we choose. Recycle them, I said. We're building something better now. Hannah smiled, Sarah's smile, bright and unbroken. Together, we stepped into the sunlight, leaving the shadows where they belonged, behind us.